Well, this is my Psycho story. One of my favorite stories to tell my students. And anyways, I had an older brother, 2 years older, and a sister, 4 years older, and we just pretty much would watch shows, some TV every night before went to bed. And this one night, our parents had us watch Psycho, and I'm like, I don't know, like 6, 7, 8 years old. I mean, I'm not a big fan of scary movies, and maybe this is why. Um, anyways, so we're sitting there watching the movie, and if you haven't seen Psycho, I never saw the end of the movie, but I mean the shower scene where the girl, you know, forearm, butcher knife, read, and just the, scary music and black and white, blood going down the drain. I mean, that was super scary. And my dad's laying on the couch. Me and my brother are sitting on the floor, laying on the floor, and my brother starts off laying on the floor, and after a while he ends up laying on the side of my dad, and then towards the end of the movie he's laying on the back of the couch. But this couple had robbed the bank, and I don't know how the guy died. I was getting ice cream, but the girl gets killed in the classic shower scene, and detective shows up, and Norman sends him up to the scary house and up on the hill, the big house, and you can hear the old lady upstairs, and he's walking up the stairs, and at the top of the stairs, a landing. On the far side of the landing is a door with a crack open, and there's a stream of light coming out the door. And as he's walking up the stairs, the new music's getting more and more intense, and it gets close to the top. All of a sudden, bright light, forearm, butcher knife, read, and the guy had no defensive skills, and he tumbles down the stairs, and just I'm just thinking, why are we watching this show? This is so scary. What's wrong with you, Mom and Dad? Why are we watching this? And now it gets to the end of the movie, and this other detective, he walks in the house, and Mrs. Bates, he hears noise downstairs, and he goes downstairs, and I'm just this little kid, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? Don't go downstairs. There's not gonna be like a surprise party or anything, and nothing good's gonna come of this. And he goes down the stairs, and the music's getting intense, and he sees this person sitting on this swivel chair, like lady, flowing hair, and Miss Bates, and he taps her on the shoulder, and this chair swivels around, and the camera zooms in on the face, and it's a skeletal face, and then it just zooms in on the guy seeing that and getting scared, and then out of the darkness, Norman jumps, but this guy's got some skills. Well, anyways, right as it zoomed in on the face, at this point, my brother was laying on the floor by my dad. Oh no, he was on the back of the couch, above my dad. And as it zoomed in on the face, my dad goes raw to my brother right in his face and scares him, and he flips onto the floor, and we're white people. I mean, he's Casper the Ghost White. I mean, all the blood has gone to his internal organs. He's in shock, and he's just stumbling around in like meandering circles in the living room. As a compassionate family, we're all start off laughing at my brother. Quickly, my mom like, hey, and she kind of like is mad at my dad, and my brother just doesn't stop, and he's just still like so shook up by my dad scaring him so harsh, and my mom, turns off the TV, and they finally get him calmed down, and Vicky goes off to bed, my oldest sister, and they're like, okay, time to go to bed. And we walk out of the living room and through the kitchen, and then you go down this little hallway, and there's the bathroom, and it's like, I'm not going to the bathroom. I mean, he's waiting behind the shower curtain. I'm just gonna wet my bed. I'm not going to the bathroom. And my brother and I, we just turned. Neither of us went in the bathroom. Turned, and and started up the stairs. And it was just like the scene where the first detective's going up this dimly lit, going up the stairs, and at the top there's a landing. On the far end there's my sister's room, and the door is cracked open, and there's a stream of light coming out of her room, and it's just like, oh, well, Norman's got her. She's toast. And we're walking up the stairs, and slowly, together, side by side, and all I hear is read, read, read in my ears, and I'm just really scared. And I don't know how many steps I took, not that many. And then all of a sudden this thought popped in my head. It's like, wait a second. They were always by themselves. The people who got knifed, they were always by themselves. And I'm like, my brother and I were right here. I'm not alone. It's like, well, maybe Norman's, that'd be kind of awkward to, read, excuse me, I'll be right back. Read, excuse me, I'll be, I mean, he's not ambidextrous. He can't two knife kind of thing. And so I just have this little hope, like maybe he's just going to wait till we're by ourselves. And we get up to the top of the landing, and I'm just afraid of bright light, forearm, butcher knife, and nothing. And we turn the corner, and we just had a short little hallway with a slanted, roof kind of hallway. And we ran down that little hallway. Our door was closed. We just kicked the door open. I had made my bed, which I never do. And Steve's bed was straight ahead. He jumped on his bed and pulled the covers. I jumped on my bed, and then I have to try and hurry up and get under the covers on a bed you're on, with the hounds of hell at my heel, because we figure like, oh, now Norman's, going to come after us, and he heard us, and I'm just scrambling, trying to get the blanket and the sheet, and then try and get it down around under my feet and up, and it just felt like it took forever. I got it up to my throat, and I don't know where I got this idea, but it's like I felt safe as soon as I got that blanket up, like to my chin. The guy from the movie could have came in with, and just been scary and had been like, excuse me, blanket roll, and he would have had to, leave me alone. And then so I'm fine, and Steve's like, you gonna get the light? I'm like, no, I'm not getting out of bed, because I'm thinking, well, maybe he slid under the bed as I jumped on and I didn't see him. And so now I'm like, well, okay, I got to get undressed. So my pants, no problem, get my pants off, but my shirt is like arm, pull it up, and then quickly over my head, and take my shirt off, and I'm laying there thinking, well, what if I fall asleep, and the covers slide down? It's like, I got to make sure the covers don't slide down. So I stuffed the blanket in my mouth as much as I could. I just stuffed as much of the blanket in my mouth, and and just plan on just laying there wide awake. Well, of course I fall asleep. I wake up, and I'm alive, and my brother's alive, and go downstairs. Vicky's alive, and so then me and my brother became real close. We'd stand there. One would go to the bathroom. We'd go into the bathroom together, check the shower. Then one would go to the bathroom and brush his teeth while the other one stood outside. And then we'd swap, and the other one would go to the bathroom, brush his teeth while the other one stood outside. And from then on, and then we'd always go upstairs together. And and from then on, I always made sure I didn't make my bed all the way. And I don't know. And then just years passed. We got, and taking a shower was scary. I mean, I'd cause a lot of times I wouldn't have a Steve standing guard. I mean, it would be, I'd just take a shower and I'd leave the curtain open, and I'd rinse, and I could get everything but this front of my head, and I'd have to turn my back, close my eyes, and rinse. And I'd open my eyes because I was afraid, and I'd get soap in my eyes, and because I wouldn't let it get all the way rinsed. And okay, now fast forward, it's like 10 years have passed. Now I'm in high school, and favorite show at this time was David Carradine, Kung Fu, and snatch the pebble from my hand, grasshopper, and it's time for you to leave. And well, anyways, I'm in the shower, taking a shower, curtains all the way closed, and I'm just got my hair lathered up, and I'm rinsing off, and I'm not thinking about Psycho or anything. I'm just relaxed. And this had never happened. Oh, and another habit I had for protection, I would lean the garbage can against the door. That was like my alarm system. And so if anybody tried coming in, the garbage can would clunk, and I would know that Norman's after me. And I'd done this for 10 years, and no one had come in the bathroom. Well, until this day, my mom comes in the bathroom, and I'm full lather, and all of a sudden I hear clunk. The garbage can tips over and hits the floor, and I can see this, image. I can see this shadowy figure. I can see Norman, coming in the bathroom, and everything goes slow motion. I mean, I'm looking through the suds, and I see this figure through the curtain, and my adrenaline kicks in, and I hadn't like pre-planned anything, but I mean, I wasn't just going to stand there and take it and just, read. I mean, I just went through the curtain, after Norman, and I start doing my Kung Fu. And I'm wailing on Norman, who actually was my mother, and with the curtain wrapped around me, and the curtain rod, I'm all tangled up in it. And she's screaming, but in my ears it sounds like ree, not ah. And she's flailing, which in my mind was, her, she's attacking me, and it's nothing but my 3 years of Kung Fu that's keeping me alive. And I don't know how long it went on, but I mean, I wailed on my mom for 15 or 20 seconds at least, and finally the bar, I hit the bar, and the bar flips over, and I see my mom, and I got, mid karate Kung Fu chop, and I stop, and we're looking at each other, and she's screaming. I'm like, get out of here, out, and just yell at her, and she runs out of the room, and I kick the door closed, and I'm just all, adrenaline pumping, and I turned the shower off. It was one of those, it was before that springy technology where you just push, they just spring together. This was like, it was bolted in on both ends. And, I had bent the shower curtain rod thing and ripped the bolts out of the sheetrock. And so I had to kind of straighten the rod out and, push the bolts back into the sheetrock and dry off the bathroom. And it took me a while to, come out of the bathroom, and my mom is sitting in the Easy Boy lounge chair with a box of Kleenex on her lap, and there's just spent Kleenex all around her, and she's still crying, just blubbering. And I try to walk out like nonchalant, like nothing's happened, and she looks up at me, and she gives me a look like a mom should never look at her kid like. She looks at me like pure disgust, like I'm covered in dog poop or whatever. She just looks at me like, ugh, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what? I'm trying to act like nothing happened. And She pulls thing, sits up in her chair. She goes, "Why did you attack me?" And I was like, "Psycho, the movie." She's like, "What are you talking about? The shower scene? Psycho? Read. She goes, "That was like 10 years ago. And I'm still alive." And she just burst out laughing. And so anyways, the moral of the story is don't let your kids watch Psycho. And if you do, watch out, because someday they might come after you if you go in the bathroom.